On my way.
Ready? Here we go. Okay, episode 32 is on the way.
Welcome to Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Jonna.
And I'm Kim.
And I am super happy because I am back and pick up every stitch in Mount Kisco, New York.
Woo woo!
And Karen is over the wall. And just in case we have any questions.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm just happy to be sitting next to you and talking about knitting again.
I know. I just saw her last week, so she came up to Vermont.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're filming this in April to air probably in May. We'll see. Because we aired our episode 31, which we recorded in January. We didn't air it until April because there were major audio issues. Hopefully you didn't hear them. But we tried our best, and Justin, the magician from the college where I'm taking the film classes, he has helped so much. He's actually here today. Thank you, Justin. So we were just happy to get the episode out. We had talked about so many fun things, and I was tempted to throw it in the trash can, but...
And it was a beautiful setting.
Beautiful, yes.
So and it was a great time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we're back. Yeah. Episode 32.
Yeah. I drove here this morning. So about 3.5 hours. Very pleasant drive. Listened to an audiobook. I'm a big fan of audiobooks because, and I'll talk about a little bit about our trip from Texas to Vermont when I talk about the sock I made. But yeah, so I turned on an audiobook and the time flew by and I feel like I'm back home.
Great.
Yeah.
And that's similar to what I did. I did drive up to Vermont. I like to drive crazy early in the morning.
She was there. I'm pretty sure I was still in my pajamas when you pulled up.
I left at 6 a.m. I was planning on leaving at 5 a.m., but I needed my sleep, so I left at 6 a.m. And at that point, it was exactly 3 hours to get to you if I hadn't stopped, and I did stop once.
And she's so funny. She's like, oh, well, if I'm a little early, I'll just stop at a Starbucks and wait for you, to like get your clothes on or whatever. I'm like, there's no Starbucks.
In Vermont.
Well, there is, I think, in the Burlington area.
Okay.
I think there are 8 of them in the whole state. But the closest one to me, I think, is in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Right, and that's where New England Fiber Festival is.
Which is like 90 miles.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had coffee waiting for you, and we had a really, really good time. And it was, we'd only been there maybe 4 days before you came. Mm-hmm. And, I was feeling a little disconcerted and, things in the house. The people we bought the house from left a lot of stuff behind. And so it didn't quite exactly feel like my house. And so I was
But they left nice stuff behind, not trash or anything.
Yeah, I mean, we did get a dumpster because we ended up replacing all the beds.
Oh, right. All those mattresses were outside when I got there.
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, there was a dumpster in our front yard. But it was so nice, I wasn't sure how I would feel, but I was so glad to see your face. It gave me just a level of comfort. So it was really, really nice.
Because I offered to come a few days earlier.
I know. And I was feeling really out of sorts and uncertain about leaving the kids and, grandma guilt and mom guilt and all that stuff. And I just wasn't sure. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect. But I was really glad to see your face. So we had a great time. We didn't, quote unquote, work. We did some knitting. We did a lot of eating. It was opening season of maple sugar. I'm not going to get that right, but Vermont maple sugar season opening day. And so, of course, we tasted maple syrup, and I had maple ice cream, and they boil hot dogs in maple sap. So that's a thing. And then they pour maple syrup on snow. So that's a thing.
It's maple everything.
Yeah,
there.
maple creamies, which is like maple soft serve, and donuts with maple syrup. And I've been having my share of. Did I take you to Southern Pies? I think we went there.
Yes, we walked in. We
And
didn't buy anything.
I had a maple latte. I've been having maple lattes there. So anyway, just getting to know our cute little town, and super, super happy to be there.
Yeah, it was really fun. It snowed while I was there.
It did. After Kim prayed, she's like, "Oh Lord, please."
Well, it was sleeting. It was supposed to snow, and we were so looking forward. We got
Feeling
food
robbed.
ahead of time so that we
Yeah,
wouldn't
we
have to
did.
go out. We were going to knit all day and watch a movie and do a member Zoom. And
then
then
it
it
was just
started
gross.
sleeting.
Which is gross, and
Yeah.
sleeting and ice pellets and nothing.
So I was like, God, you probably don't even care if it snows here, but please just let it snow for at least
And
a little.
literally, it started snowing, and it snowed for maybe 10 minutes.
It was really funny.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
So we've had all the weather. I've had days where I wore a t-shirt, and we've had snow, and we've had sleet and rain and wind.
Is it still mud season?
It is technically, but the street was pretty dry today, so the wind and the sun dried it up quite a bit. But before you got there, I was like, oh, she's not going to be able to get up the hill. So I didn't even know what mud season was until.
Yeah, if you're on the main road and a lot of the roads, not just driveways, but roads with road signs and names are dirt roads.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know it was a thing. You Vermonters know, but March is mud season. And as the ground is thawing and refreezing and thawing and refreezing
And the
and it
snow's
rains
melting.
and it's snow,
Yeah.
the mud gets really deep and the ruts get really deep. So she asked me, do you have a four-wheel drive? And I said, well, my husband's car has all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But it's like a sports car.
And it's low to the ground.
It's low to the ground. And the ruts are so deep, so the mountains between the ruts are pretty high.
And there's no, they tell you, oh, well, stay out of the ruts. Just hold on really tight to the wheel, which we've tried to do, but your car just goes right into the ruts. And, it's not steep. The sides of the road aren't steep, but if you went off the side of the road, you would tip over.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go off the side of the road. So it's been
Anyway, we survived. I got there. I got up the road and then parked, and I did not move the car again until I left. And I just kept thinking, it's downhill when I leave. At least if I get in those ruts and slide all the way down
Just
there.
don't slam on the brakes,
Exactly.
Okay, so since our last episode, which was a while ago, since we last filmed, we had our Socks for Sam sock drive.
Yes, we
And
did.
thank you to everybody who sent in socks. It was so fun. It was fun for us to open up. She would go to the post office box and open up the package and FaceTime me, and we'd look at all the socks and ooh and ah. And we were so really touched and inspired by all of the beautiful socks. It wasn't like someone just took, didn't make an effort. I mean, let's face it, any sock is a huge effort. I just want to say that. But people were super creative and used beautiful yarn and different ideas and patterns, and it was great. Some were shorties, some were longs. A woman sent us 3 pair.
5 pair.
5 pair.
And
10 socks.
Yeah. So she got 10 entries into our giveaway. And in fact, with 10 entries out of 23,
Guess what? Who the winner is?
It was Kathy, inspired by fibers on Instagram. She won. She is the one who sent 5 pair of socks, so 10 socks. So congratulations.
Yay.
And actually, we are going to send her, we got a free Twice Sheared Sheep surprise box. I just got it at the post office. And we're going to send the entire box to Kathy. So John is going to read what's in there. I didn't bring it with me. It was too much to carry.
And inside the box is an Indigo Grove mini Trini bag, a perfect little project bag, Sheepyshire staple sock yarn, a yarn to go carousel, one of those yarn, you put your yarn on it and you can walk around and it spins, a duo repair hook, so crochet hook on one end and knitting needle on the other, a Moonlight Moth row counter, which is my favorite thing, although it is not fail-safe, as we know. So I am a new convert to light bulb stitch markers every 10 rows. I just got to do it. A crystal butterfly stitch marker, Highland cow measuring tape, and one of those cute little Notion storage tins.
Great.
So that is on its way, or will be on its way, to Kathy after she emails us at KTOG with Kim and Jonna, KTOGW? KTOGW, Kim and Jonna at gmail.com. But be sure to click the More button and About Us and find the email address and make sure that
on our YouTube channel.
I did not misspeak.
Yeah.
Yes, on our YouTube channel. So anyway. So email us, give us your address, and we'll send you the box.
And thank you for all the beautiful socks. It was really hard to not keep one pair, I have to say.
Oh.
I wanted to keep a pair. Yeah, I don't even wear hand-knit socks, but they were beautiful. Yeah,
I know.
And we did get a last minute, I went to the post office box this week and realized there was one more package of socks, and it was actually from a viewer and a member and a dear friend, Debbie. And I do, in episode 31, we did show all of the sock donations we had up until that point. And so Debbie's, we didn't get to show hers because today I drove to the middle school to drop off her socks because tomorrow is Mismatched Sock Day. I mean, by now when you see this, it'll be far past. But I wanted her socks to be included.
Is it one of those National Donut Days, National Mismatched Sock Day?
I don't think it is. I think it's just their event, but I could be completely wrong. It could be.
Did you know that there's a National Food Day, and so then there's a different food every day?
Every day.
Yeah, and mine is like National Gumbo Day.
Your birthday?
My birthday is like
funny.
National Gumbo Day. But yeah, my husband's was almost National Taco Day, and his is like, he loves tacos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's fun. So look up your birthday, and then you'll see what kind of food is the National Day. So anyway, I wasn't sure if it must be one of those fun.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a national day, but yeah, so because we didn't get to show her socks, and they were dropped off today at the school, I'm going to insert a picture here of her socks. She sent 3 socks, 1 taller sock with a beautiful little cable down it, and 2 shorties. So thank you so much, Debbie. And I, when I contacted Cody, who's the teacher, who's Sam's teacher, Socks for Sam, and told him I would bring the socks by, he said, you really don't have to. I can still include her in the giveaways. And I said, no. Debbie's socks need to be there. So they're there.
And Debbie is also a designer on Ravelry.
She is.
Yeah.
Is that designs by Debbie? Or
We'll put it, or she'll put it on the screen below, or I'll put it in the show notes.
yeah, one of those things.
Yeah.
You'll find it somewhere.
Yeah.
Or you can email us if we forget.
So we had our member Zoom, and we do have memberships for our channel. We had our Cable 3 member Zoom in Vermont at my house. So that was really fun.
Oh my goodness, but tell them what happened at the end.
At the end, all of a sudden the power went out, or the internet went out, which I guess is a Vermont thing. And so all of a sudden it was over.
And we're hosting it, so we're disconnected. We didn't get to say
And they
goodbye.
went on for a little while and then realized we weren't coming back because the internet took a while to get back up.
Right.
And so we just had to let everyone know that we got disconnected. So.
And we were lucky because we were recording it. It actually recorded up until, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that it actually recorded.
No, because it just shut down with no warning.
Exactly. And I contacted, we have some of their phone numbers, so I contacted one of them who I knew was on, and I said, can you just tell everybody that our internet went out? And so she did, and it was fine, but it was just really funny. Okay,
so that's Socks for Sam, which has gotten me on kind of a sock knitting kick.
I love it that you're back on
I know.
sock kick.
I really loved the sock I made for Sam.
Yeah.
It was cute. I would have made another and kept it for myself. Well, anyway.
I think you didn't know if you had enough yarn, right? Was that it? Yeah. It was a beautiful sock. So anyway.
So what are you wearing?
I don't have anything new to wear. This is relatively new. I talked about this in episode 31. So if you want to hear all the details, you can go back and watch episode 31. And by the way, we put timestamps in. So if you wanted to miss all the talking before this, Jonna puts timestamps in. And we also put in episode 31, I put timestamps in for each project. So you can even just go
That
look.
was so nice.
I'm
going to copy you.
So I'm wearing my blue Felix cardigan, which I talked about in episode 31. I was wearing my pink one in that episode. So I did talk all about it in episode 31. I'm not going to talk about the details right now. It is the Felix cardigan designed by Amy Christophers, and I knit it in Barocco Mercado in the color blue. I don't know exactly what the color is, but it's in my Ravelry, and the Ravelry page for this project is in the show notes. That's it.
Great.
What are you wearing?
I am wearing my No Frills sweater by PetiteKnit. And I'm sure I've worn this before, but not in a very long time. It is my favorite beige sweater.
Okay, wait. You said you haven't worn it in a long time? She wore it every day I was in Vermont.
Yes, no. I mean, I haven't worn it in an episode in a really long time. I wear it every day. Every day. So we brought like limited clothing. So I don't have a lot of choices, but it made me realize that I really change clothes way too often and wash clothes way too often. So we are wearing clothes until they're actually dirty, which is so different than how we live our normal lives. So, but I haven't gotten mud on it, and I didn't get guacamole on it on the way here because I was eating in the car. But yes, it is the No Frills sweater. It's one of my favorite sweaters. It's like a big sweatshirt. I love it. It is knit in Biche Bouche Le Petit Lambswool and Rowan Kid Silk Haze in the color Purl, which is my all-time most favorite color / mohair. It's lives up to its name, Purl. It's like this, it's not iridescent, but it kind of takes on the color of whatever it is you're knitting with it, and I love it. But I wanted to point out or just mention that Tosh from Mostly Knitting, who is a knitter in Australia, who has a podcast, and we'll link it down below. But I just watched one of her episodes, and she was comparing the No Frills sweater to the Monday sweater by PetiteKnit and compare and contrast. And it was just interesting, her take on this. And I knew this about PetiteKnit, but she often has very similar sweaters, like the Stockholm sweater and the Oslo sweater, very similar. And one of my whips is the Wednesday sweater, which is very similar to the caramel sweater. So I usually try to choose the sweater that's newest. If there are two that are, so similar that I can't decide between. Or sometimes I'll look in, the one with the most projects. Sometimes I'll choose that one. But Tosh was mentioning that it would be nice if, and her name's Meta. I know people call her PetiteKnit, but if she combined some of the most similar patterns into one pattern so that you didn't have to buy multiple patterns. But anyway, that is an aside, but go check out Tosh on Mostly Knitting. So I really enjoy her episodes.
Yeah, we love her.
Yeah.
She's one of our members, so she's, right, she's been in some of our, I think she's a member, but she's been in some of our Zooms, and it's so lovely when we see her pop up from Australia.
I know.
It's really fun.
And she just finished a pair of penny gloves, and I made those, and I love them, so she also loved them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're knitting. I mean, wearing. I guess we'll talk about what we're knitting.
Sure.
But we don't have to yet. Well, do we have any finished objects?
I do have a few.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any?
I have some half-finished objects.
Okay. Well, I'll do quickly I'll do some Oslo hats. How's that?
Go for it.
And this is also something I am knitting, so I'm not going to talk about it separately, but I can't remember how many Oslo hats I had finished by episode 31.
A lot.
But for my German class, I decided last year to knit everyone in my German class. Okay, it's not 30 people though. It's only like 6 people in my German class. So I'm knitting everybody an Oslo hat. First I knit one for the teacher last year. And so this year so far, since January, I've knit a blue one for Rainer, an older gentleman. He was the first one. Because the reason it started was because every class, I knit during class, and he would say, "Where are my socks?" And I would say, finally, I said, knitting socks for somebody, especially someone you don't know very well, is very difficult. And I'm not a sock knitter. So I said, how about if I knit you a hat? And he's like, oh, you don't have to. And I said, no, really, I will. Because I knit during class anyway. And it's round and round, one of Jonna's favorite things. So I started knitting them hats. I came here and I got Pasquale Tibetan, which I love. And I actually heard they're going to stop carrying it here, so I might buy it all. I don't know. I already talked to Karen about it. I just can't afford it yet. So anyway, I knit Rainer a blue one, and then I knit Patricia a green one, and then I just last week gave Maria it was kind of a Merlot color, and then this is Anne's hat. And what color would you call this?
It is definitely a barn red.
Okay.
I'll call it a barn red.
Yeah.
It is a little orangey.
It is, right?
Yeah, a little red.
And so this one I'm on the decreases, so I might not actually be knitting very much. I don't want to mess it up. But I hopefully will have inserted pictures of the Oslo hats over me talking about them. But they're all so grateful for them. I'm having trouble finding a pom-pom to match this one, though, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Because the girl hats, I put pom-poms on them, and I tell them they don't have to wear it with a pom-pom. And then there's one other gentleman in the class. He's an avid skier. And when I said I was going to knit everyone hats, he was like, oh, no, I don't need one. I have so many hats. But I feel bad, so I'm probably going to knit him one anyway and just give it to him. And if he doesn't wear it, he can give it to somebody else.
A nice black one or something.
Yeah, exactly. I was just looking at the black yarn today. So anyway, that's my first 2 or 3 finished objects are Oslo hats. And that would be Oslo hat. This is Oslo hat number 11 in my history of Oslo hats, because I've knit some for my husband and family members. And then another finished object, I'm just going to talk about it. I don't even know if I have a picture. In the film program where I'm taking film classes, a young man came up to me because he found out I was a knitter, and he said, could you knit me 2 sweaters for my next student film? And I said, I guess. So he wanted one kind of messy sweater, and then he wanted one, a beautiful, more complicated, perfectly made sweater. So I found a basic sweater pattern, the marble sweater by PetiteKnit, and I made the messy one first. I'll see if I have a picture to insert it. It was supposed to be partially finished, and so I purposely made every mistake in the book. I forgot to do raglan increases. I dropped stitches. It was really hard to do. And then I knitted a yellow one. He wanted the messy one in green and the perfect one in yellow. And I added a big 4x4x4 cable down the front. I made it cropped. And the marble sweater was supposed to have a folded neckband, but I didn't want to do that much knitting, so I just did a simple 1x1, a few row neckband. And then I didn't even want to do the sleeve decreases, so I didn't. And then at the very end at the cuff, I decreased half the stitches right before the cuff. Did a few more inches of cuff and bound it off. And he did make the film recently, and my sweater was in it. It's so exciting. And he credited me at the end. It was really fun. Cool. So if I inserted a picture, oh, funny, the picture I'll insert, or if I already inserted it, my daughter tried it on, and I was going to give it to Arthur the next day, and I look at the picture to post it, and I realize, one sleeve looks strangely longer than the other.
You did a Jonna.
I did, with my row counter.
Yeah, it happens.
It does, because I do my row counter and I tally. So I do the row counter up to 10, 1 tally mark. Row counter up to 10. So I must have forgotten to tally because I was having so much fun knitting. So the next day I told him, sorry, I can't give you the sweater today. I have to cut off the cuff and re-knit. I know.
Oh my goodness.
Rip it out. So during film class, I actually ripped it back, put it back on the needles, and finished it that night. Anyway, that was that. So that was one of my finished objects.
Wow.
Do you want to talk about one? A half-finished object?
A half-finished object. Alrighty. Oh, so the first, actually I do have one completed finished object, which are my daughter Laura's socks. Out of Kia's Garn Merino. It's a 75-25, and I just thought, this is not something I would typically pick out, but I thought it was really, really beautiful. It just looked like ice cream to me. So I got this in Berlin at Woolen, which was just a gorgeous store. So if you're ever in Berlin, go ahead and check it out. I picked out this sock yarn, and it was, it's locally dyed, a woman-owned business. She does this by herself, so I really wanted to support that. So I bought this, and then they had a huge wall of Filcolana Arvetta in every color, and I asked my husband to pick out a contrasting color, and he loves orange, and so he picked out this orange, which I have to say is not my favorite color, but I was really excited to try the Arvetta. And I have to say, although it is extremely soft and nice to work with, I don't know how well it will hold up, so I'm kind of curious about that. That said, it is a little loosely plied, so I felt like it was a little splitty. And the heel, already just being tossed around in my bag and everything, it looked a little fuzzy already. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Filcolana Arvetta, even though I really, really, really wanted to try it. So,
is it officially a sock yarn?
It is officially a sock yarn. This is in the color Calendula, which is the same as Marigold, I think. So the color of marigolds. And I think it's just, regular 75-25 merino nylon sock yarn. So, but I do know that people use it for garments and hold it with mohair.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, which, you're going to get less wear and tear than a sock and a shoe. So anyway, so that was Laura's socks, and they were just a 1x1 rib, 64 stitches for 20 rounds, and then a stockinette and a heel flap and gusset. And I've been very, very concerned about gusset gaps these days.
Okay, what's a gusset gap?
A gusset gap. So when you get little holes between where you connect the instep stitches, where you knit across the instep, and then you're picking up stitches along the heel flap, then sometimes you get a little hole just because you're stretching yarn a long ways across those, no matter how tightly you pull it. So especially happens when you are knitting with, doing contrasting heels. So I did my Roxanne Richardson trick, which I did not cut the main color yarn. So I knit the first, now I'm going to get it wrong. So you knit across the stitches with your contrasting yarn and leave your main yarn hanging. So you can just pick it up when you need to. You pick up stitches with the contrast color and the main color, which when you're wearing the sock, you can't tell. One side is the main color and one side is the contrast color. That first row, you can't tell at all. So I tried that to kind of reduce the gusset gap situation, but I still got some gusset gaps. So I think it is Suzanne Bryan, and if I'm wrong about that, I think I'm right about that. Might be Patty Lyons, I don't know, but I'll link it below. So if you look at the gap and you find the stitch below the stitch you're working on either side of the gap, I put a double pointed needle through those one leg of each stitch, and I'm actually creating 2 stitches. So depending on the orientation of the stitch that you're picking up, I either knit through the back or I knit through the front. So they basically make one left and make one right. And then, so I'm making 2 extra stitches in the gaps and then knitting those together
on the next round.
On the next round. And so I have to say I have no more gusset gaps after doing that. And I'll link that video below. And it really just takes, 2 seconds?
Yeah.
So I have, though, been making my socks with just 1 strand of yarn and no contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes, just because, like you said, it just gives me that sense of security knowing that a sock is made with completely 1 strand of uncut yarn. So that's the kick I'm on now. So anyway, Laura's socks, those are finished, and they're adorable. And the last pair of socks I made her was the night her son Max was born, and he is 4.5.
Oh,
so
wow.
she takes care of her wool socks, and she wears them a lot and enjoys them. So it's a joy to knit for her. So
And you already mailed them to her?
I gave them to her in Texas.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. So when I go back, I'll take a picture.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll talk about my next finished
Okay.
objects, which I absolutely love. I'm so excited about them. So my son-in-law's sister had a baby in November, I think, and of course I planned on knitting something before that, but I was so busy and flying to Texas a lot to film and taking my first film class ever, so I didn't really have a chance to start. Her nursery theme for her little baby, her name is Angie, and the baby is Jackson, and the nursery theme is Space Panda. So I'm thinking, oh gosh, what kind of blanket am I gonna? And by the way, I have in the past knit sweaters for babies, but they grow out of them so darn fast. So I do knit a lot of baby blankets, and I'm going back to blankets because they're just a keepsake forever. So anyway,
And they're very useful.
I found, of course, I came here to pick up every stitch.
I want to see the colors.
You want to see it?
Oh.
Pick up the color, give me.
Yeah, Karen's coming to look. So this is Big Bad Wool Weepaka, one of my all-time favorites.
So soft.
It's deliciously soft, somewhat washable. You still have to be gentle with it. You can't just throw it in the wash and throw it in the dryer. And we picked out the colors Birmingham and, it's a funny name, Big Boy Blue, which I love. And I just thought it looked kind of like the blues of outer space. And I actually looked for, I had knit a chevron pattern like this for my granddaughter Harper, and I loved the pattern. But I thought, oh, let me look for a new pattern because I don't like to knit the same thing twice. So I found another pattern, and I hated it. I started it here in Pick Up Every Stitch, and I took it home. I could not figure out these increases. It was like a backwards loop, but she made a point of saying, don't lift the bar in between and do it this or that. It's a backwards loop on this side, and it's a reverse backwards loop on that side. But I had to literally drop my yarn every single time to make this. And I thought, why am I fighting this? I did like one section, and I hated it. And so I went and found my Espoz Tricot pattern. It is called the Chevron Baby Blanket. And I started, and it was a breeze. And I measured it. Its finished measurements are 31 by 42. So it's even bigger than I thought it would be, but it's gorgeous. Look at it. It's so beautiful.
It's so pretty.
I love it so much, and she's going to love it. It's all blocked. So after we record, I'm sending it. But then, of course, I had these little balls of extra yarn. And so I came in here, and I had remembered that Big Bad Wool had a simple, if you buy their yarn, a free little postcard of a baby hat. And so I got that, and I did modify it. I made it bigger. Just so you know, I planned, the blanket is one size, but I also bought the baby a onesie for next fall. Because you know how when you have a baby, everybody gives you newborn stuff, and then again they grow out of it. So I thought, let me just plan all of this for when the baby is 9 months to a year and beyond. So this hat, I think the Big Bad Wool basic baby hat is for a newborn. So I can't remember if I added more stitches. I think I did. I added more stitches and then just added more decreases. And then I was at Jonna's when I knit this in Vermont. And that one just had a normal closing and a yarn pom-pom, but I wanted an umbilical knot, so I kind of just made up the top. And yeah, it turned out so cute. It's going to fit the baby. If it fits now, he can wear it, and if not, then he can wear it in the fall. And then look at this adorable onesie. It has little stars all over it.
Super cute.
To match, yeah. I got this at one of my favorite local children's boutiques. It's called Hip Kid. Is that what it is? I always forget if it's exactly Hip Kid or, yep, Hip Kid. And it's made by Kokoli Baby. It's so gorgeous. So,
so
Jackson,
soft.
it'll be on its way as soon as we finish filming. So that's my other finished object.
Really cute.
Yay, I'm so happy with it.
All right, I just have more socks to talk about.
Finished?
Well, I have one sock.
Oh, the his and her. Go for
3
it.
pairs. Yes. So, I'll go with the one that I started the longest time ago. Is that right? The longest time ago?
Sure.
Anyway, this is the DRK Everyday Sock, a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I'm knitting it for my husband. That's why it's so big. And gosh, knitting men's socks, like that's a commitment. So this sock took me a really long time to make, only just because I put it aside. But it's an interesting sock. So I've never done a toe-up sock. So I cast on with the Turkish cast on and made increases, and then started the 2x2 rib. And then this is called a Flegel heel, and I have it in my notes.
Is it in her pattern? The Flegel heel?
It is.
Oh, nice.
But the Flegel heel is actually created by Susan Glenert Stevens, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry, so you can incorporate it into a top-down or a toe-up sock. And it was really fun to make. I really enjoyed it. The only issue, and someone on our members Zoom pointed this out, in the pattern, the back of the heel is just knit in stockinette. And she said that it doesn't hold up very well. Good thing my husband just wears his socks with his like slip-on slippers around the house. So I don't think he'll be wearing these in shoes. So hopefully it doesn't wear out. But I have heard that that could be an issue with this pattern.
I was going to ask when she was talking about that, do people ever, just for the heel, knit with 2 strands?
Yes.
Or
So some sock yarn comes with a strand of nylon, so you can knit that along with your...
just for the heel?
just for the heel.
I was wondering.
Some people knit with an extra strand of silk. Some people knit with an extra strand of mohair. So yes.
I was wondering
Yeah,
that.
you can-
But then we got disconnected from our Zoom, so I couldn't ask.
Couldn't ask. And this is actually knit in one of my favorite yarns that must be on the floor, the Regia Premium Merino Yak. And I absolutely love this. I love the colors. It's very heathered because the yak fiber is dark. So all the colors are really heathered and comes in beautiful colors. I've used it before. Super easy and soft and easy on the hands to knit with. So highly recommend this yarn. Let's see if there's anything else I want to say about this. So I'm making the men's medium, and there are 11 sizes in that pattern, from baby to men's extra large. So it's a really fun pattern. So you can make socks for the whole family. Yeah, and then there's no gusset gaps. So I don't know if that's the reason Susan wrote the pattern, was to diminish gusset gaps, but there are no gusset gaps to worry about. So yeah. And hopefully I will definitely make him another one, because he is very knit-worthy and he wears his wool socks all the time. So I will definitely cast on the second one. I have another.
I'm going to hold you to it.
I know. I have another half finished object, and I was watching those twins who knit, and if you haven't watched them, you should tune in. They're adorable. They have beautiful style, and they are, amazing knitters, and I love watching them. And they also sew.
Can I tell you something funny?
Yeah.
So Justin has helped me edit now a couple of videos, and whenever you mention something, when you mentioned Taylor from Wool Needles Hands, he went back and watched your video. He wanted to see what you were talking about. So Justin goes, he's not a knitter, but he goes back and watches, funny. And he quotes us, and it's really funny. I'm so happy you're a fan, Justin. Next thing you know, I'll come into school and he'll be knitting.
He'll be knitting. And it's so bad. I should have looked up their names before oh well. Anyway, so I was inspired to knit this because I was watching those twins who knit, and one of them knit just a plain beige ribbed sock. And I thought, oh, I want one of those. And so I cast this on as soon as we left Texas. So we left Texas, and the wind was blowing, and then pretty soon we're in the middle of a dust storm.
Because you were driving from Texas to your new
house in Vermont. And we can't fly because we have a dog who weighs too much to be on the plane, and he's too ill-behaved to be on the plane in any other capacity than, in the cargo area. I tell people his redeeming quality is that he's very, very cute. Yeah.
But also you had things you wanted to bring with you, and you wanted to have a car.
We did, and we wanted to have a car. So there are many reasons. So we drove. But anyway, we left Texas in a dust storm. There was a dust storm all across Oklahoma, so I cast the sock on in the car. By the time we got to, where did we spend the night? We were going to spend the first night in St. Louis, Missouri. Well, it was just a horrific weekend for traveling.
And I was texting Jonna just saying, how's it going? How's the drive? And at one point she says, we're hiding in a Buc-ee's. There's tornadoes all around.
We did. So Buc-ee's is this big gas station, and they have like, I don't know how many gas pumps, like dozens of gas pumps, but they're under a covered roof. And so we parked the car under the covered roof, and I went into the Buc-ee's, and I had to go to use the restroom. So I walk in there, and there are men, women, children just huddled in the bathroom of Buc-ee's.
So did you still use the bathroom?
I did. I mean, I found an empty bathroom, but everyone was just camped out on the floor, and I realized, oh gosh, like, we should be taking cover. So I waited in there until I heard the sky kind of cleared, and I heard the siren stop. But it was still kind of light at that point. Well, we got back in the car, headed to St. Louis, and then it gets dark, and we're on the freeway, and there's, the exits are far and few between, right? So I hear the tornado sirens, and I'm looking at the app, and I'm texting my daughter. I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if we're going into it, we're going away from it.
Because by now it's dark.
Yeah, by now it's dark, and it's just raining, and the wind, and there's semi-trucks, and I was like, okay, we got to get off the freeway. So we did come to an exit. We found another gas station, small gas station, and we waited there out of the car. We got out of the car and walked into the service station with the same people who were at the Buc-ee's. So we're all like, oh, it's you again. But there was actually a tornado, and we were in Walla, Missouri, and we knew that there was a tornado. We didn't know exactly where it was, but it turns out we were in the middle of the tornado. We did get a broken windshield, but it's just a small, like, chip. So it was totally fine to drive. So it was not a good weekend to be traveling. And the storm was going 70 miles an hour, and we were going 70 miles an hour. So we turned around, actually, and spent the night.
You didn't stay at the hotel you planned on staying at.
No, we just said, I give up.
stay behind the storm.
Let's stay behind. So we lived in St. Louis for a short time. So we really wanted to stay in St. Louis and go to our favorite breakfast place for breakfast, which we did end up doing the next day. And then we got back in the car and it rained all the way to Vermont. But two things. I knit this sock. I finished this literally like before we were to pull into the driveway.
Wow.
So this is just a German twisted cast on. So that's what I do with my top down socks. 2x2 rib. I did pick up 2 stitches in the gusset gap and a heel flap and gusset and just regular Kitchener toe. It's funny. I have made, 50 plus socks? And on my daughter's sock that I was speaking about earlier, I Kitchenered and then I turned it inside out and there was a seam. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Why is there a seam where I Kitchenered? And I texted Claudia, my friend Claudia, and I said, there's a seam. What have I done? And she said, oh, you just did it too tightly. So now all of a sudden, I've forgotten completely how to do the Kitchener stitch. I'm like, is this tight? Is this loose? Should I be pulling tighter? So anyway, I'm having a little bit of Kitchener anxiety, shall we say, and having to go back and tighten up my stitches. So I've lost my Kitchener mojo. Well, I don't know what that's about, but
Notice she didn't call me to ask because I am not a no.
Because
but
you're not
I'm
a sock knitter.
Totally not a sock knitter. The last time I Kitchenered was like, my first sock, and not my thing.
Yeah. So anyway, this is made out of the Fiberco Amble, which is it's easy wash. It's not super wash. And knit on a US 1, which is a 2.25 millimeter, 64 stitches, like I said, but it's 70% easy wash merino, 20% easy wash alpaca, and 10% recycled nylon in the color Blen Cathra, which I believe amble, is the word for walking or maybe locations in the UK. Mm-hmm. So, I love it though. I'm going to not cast on the other one until we get in the car to drive back to Texas. I do want to mention, I know it's not book time. I do want to mention that I picked out an audiobook that I thought both of us would enjoy. We don't really read the same kinds of books, but I did a lot of, looking on Amazon. I ended up getting 11/22/63 by Stephen King. And I thought Stephen King was just like a horror, the movie Carrie and
Christine.
So I had no interest in Stephen King. However, I'm totally completely wrong about that. And this was a fascinating book that combined time travel and the murder of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And it was a fantastic book. I chose it mostly because it was like 30 hours long.
So you listened to that all the way from Texas?
We listened to it all the way, and then we listened to it in the morning, sometimes when we were having coffee, and at night we could listen to it for about 3 minutes, and both of us would pass out, and we'd be like, oh, we don't know what's going on. It was a really, really great book, so I'm going to, and if any of you are Stephen King fans, you can chime in, but I think I'm going to download either The Stand for the way back or Under the Dome. Both by Stephen King. So if you want to weigh in, let me know. But so it was a great, great book. And it's a very thought-provoking book. And my favorite quote from the movie, it felt like a movie because the man who narrated it was just his different voices, and you really believed that there were all these characters in the book. But my favorite line from the book is, the past is obdurate and doesn't want to be changed. And it is a very interesting concept, I have to say. So I really, really enjoyed it. So this is my drive from Texas to Vermont sock.
Nice.
To wear with my Blundstones.
And I did take a picture. I may have already inserted it, but I took a picture of both of the his and her socks when I was in Vermont. So. And
I really like the amble yarn. It's very nice.
Yeah,
It's a little bit heavier than typical finger. Not a sport by any means, but it feels a little heavier. So that makes it super squishy. Yummy
it's really
sock.
Nice.
So.
I can't wait to see you wear them. Finish them and wear them.
Yes, I promise. I know this is a bad habit of making one sock and then going to the next sock. Like, what's
you
that
said
all
that
about?
when I was in Vermont. You said, I'm so tempted to cast on another sock, but I really should finish the other pairs.
But I have a plan. But I did cast on a new sock, so I'll talk about that in a minute. I guess I already mentioned some of my whips because technically my one sock are whips. But anyway, you have a whip?
But they're also, like you said, half finished because you have a sock
There's
completed.
definitely a sense of accomplishment when you finish a sock. So
no, I totally think a finished sock should be part of FOs, finished objects, yes. So do you want me to do my whip first?
yes, I do.
I only have one whip besides my crochet flower blanket, which will probably never be finished. So I think I had started this, in episode 31. And it is the Samling. It's originally supposed to be a pullover. I'm making it into a cardigan. It's the Samling by Sari Nordland. Is this I think this might be the first time I've knit a Sari Nordland. I have another pattern at home that I will knit. That is a pullover. But I'm really in cardigan mode these days. So it's knit in, she designed this for Woolfolk, and it's knit in Woolfolk Stro. That's what it was intended for, S-T-R-A. The A has that little circle over it, so I think you pronounce it as an O, Stro. And I had finished the body. I actually made the body shorter than the pattern called for, because I was running out of yarn. And then I just really realized by the time I was doing the button band that there was absolutely no way I was going to have enough yarn. So I did a little Instagram shout out, call for help. Help me find this exact dye lot, and a shop in California, and now I can't remember what it's called. I think it used to be Pat's previous local yarn shop when she lived in California. And also the Woolfolk distributor, which is in Portland, Oregon, both confirmed that they had the exact dye lot I needed. It was easy. I didn't even have to look that long. And so I asked the distributor, because they responded first, who should I order it from? And he definitely said, absolutely order it from the shop. Because, of course, they want their stockists to, get business. So I ordered it from them, and it was here within a couple weeks. But then I had already started the baby blanket. You know me, I'm kind of like a one project person. So I stopped for a while. Anyway, this starts with provisional cast-ons at the shoulders. You're supposed to knit the front separately. But of course, you know me, I knit them at the same time. When I looked at the picture, I noticed when you're doing the V-neck increases that you are creating a new 12-stitch cable. And when I looked at hers, I noticed that the cables weren't symmetrical, because when you have enough stitches to do a twist on the away from neck side, you don't have enough stitches to do that exact same twist on the neck side, on the other side, because the stitches don't exist yet. So I already knew that I kind of wanted to try to make it more symmetrical. I tried a few different ways and ripped it back to the fourth row at least twice. And then I remember somebody talking about this once, and I couldn't remember who it was, and I found a video on YouTube, and I don't remember whose video it was, but she talked about doing your increases within your cable. Like when you're twisting over, underneath that one that's twisting, you lift that bar. So I thought, why don't I start the twist when the cable is 2, 2, and 2 instead of waiting until it's 4, 4, and 4. So that's what I did, and I did take a good picture of it at home today. There's not a lot of contrast, so hopefully you can see it. But up here, it starts with I think it basically starts with 2, 2, and 2, and then eventually I sat with a piece of paper. I talk about this in episode 31, so I'm not going to say it really again, but I sat with a piece of paper and planned it out for 5 hours, how to make it theoretically work. And then I got to like 2, 3, 2, and then 3, 3, 2, and then 3, 3, 3, and then eventually 4, 4, 4. And it came out great.
It did.
They're so symmetrical, and I love them. I also added, because I eliminated the center cable down the center of the sweater to make it a cardigan, I added on either side of where the button band would be, I added a 1x1 cable. I thought it would give it some firmness. And then there's also an extra stitch. So in between that 1x1 cable and the extra stitches where I picked up my stitches for my button bands. Also, I'm assuming in the small, it ends with this 2x2 cable. But then for these extra 9 stitches for my size, it was just, I can't remember, just so you know, people have issues with this pattern. If you look it up, there's a lot of issues with it. I don't think it was ever updated again after it was published by Woolfolk. I don't know why, but a lot of people online had problems with just even not understanding how to add the cable, a lot of different things. So it had either, I'm not sure, 9 stitches on the edge, at the arm edge, either only stockinette or reverse stockinette, but a whole swatch, a whole section, all the way down with no cables. And it was like 8 or 9 stitches, so I thought, why don't I just add more cables in? So I did. I added another 2x2 cable, and I added another 1x1 cable, and then 1 stitch on the edge, and then I'm going to pick up my sleeve stitches. Well, I did on the first sleeve. In between that 1 stitch and the 1x1 cable, again, it'll make a firmer edge. So another issue with the pattern. So I did the 2 fronts down to the underarm, and then you put the provisional cast on back on your needles on 1 needle, and then you pick up stitches, or no, you cast on stitches across the back neck, and then you put the other provisional cast on your needle, and you start the back. But you're supposed to follow the same chart. All the 4x4, the 2x2 cables and the 1x1 cables still twist in the same direction. But the 4x4x4 cables, if you follow the chart, they twist the wrong way. So I basically, by then I had it memorized. So I basically had to, instead of twisting the first 2 sides, I had to just figure it out, and I did. And I'm so happy because you can't even see. It's absolutely
Seamless.
It's absolutely seamless. I'm so proud of myself. Yay! Happy knitter here. So I figured that out, and as I said, I made it a little bit shorter, but I tried it on. I love it. It's coming just below the waistband of my pants, so as I would call a grandma crop, because grandmas shouldn't wear anything cropped, right? Anyway. Well, this grandma. Then, I mentioned this also in episode 31, I did the button band and the neck band first, because we talk about this. If there was no neck band, and I knit my sleeve and thought, oh, this is long enough, and then I knit my neck band, and as soon as then it's going to sit up here more firmly and in place, my sleeves would be too short. So, and I'll say it again, I don't even know, because every single pattern I've ever seen says knit the fronts, knit the back, finish the body, do the sleeves, and finishing is the neck band and the button bands. Do not do that. Do your neck band, your button bands first, then do your sleeves. Don't do what the pattern says, because then I try it on, and it's a nice high V, which I love. I got these beautiful buttons. I actually have a little button collection. Once I got a big plastic bag somewhere full of a mishmash of buttons, and these were in there, so I used stash buttons. And now I can try it on as I'm knitting the sleeve and button it in case I want to have it buttoned. It'll sit in the right place, and then I'll know exactly how long I want my sleeve to be. So the last thing is oh my goodness, I picked up these stitches in Vermont at Jonna's house. The trip was really relaxing except for that.
I was picking up stitches for the neck of my sweater.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How many times did I do it? At least 5 times.
We both did a lot of times.
Yes. I was a little concerned. I looked at the schematic for the pattern, and according to the circumference measurement she has for the correct gauge, it seemed like the circumference was going to be tighter on my arm than I wanted. So with this pattern, you were just supposed to divide for the body and sleeves and not cast on any stitches under the underarm.
But you cast on extra stitches.
I did. I cast on 6 stitches. And then when I was picking up my stitches, though, I could not pick up enough stitches to have extra stitches. I finally ended up picking up the amount of stitches she suggested, and luckily yesterday I did try it on, and it's going to be fine. And also when you block cables, you want them to stretch out a little bit and
because the sleeves are patterned, you have to have
the exact amount of stitches.
Right. So you were going to pick up more, and then
more than the pattern called for, but I couldn't, I was worried then that the sleeve would be puckery, that I would have too many stitches. And so I just thought, let me just start the sleeve, and then I'll try it on when I get a few rows in. It seems like it's going to be fine. I might not do the decreases under the arms, though. I might just keep them straight. And under the arm, I was tempted to do the decreases. She doesn't have a cables under the arm. She has a bunch of reverse stockinette. And then you'll do the decreases within the reverse stockinette. So I don't know. I may do it. I'll try it on again. But right now it's just reverse stockinette. But again, it's in your armpit and then it's under your arm. And it's just going to be under your arm. Nobody's even going to see it. Right. So it's fine. Except if I really, I don't know. Who knows? I might rip it up and then put a cable instead of the reverse stockinette. I haven't decided. But anyway, I love it. I can't wait to finish it. And now this is my only project because everything else is done.
Nice.
Yay! Finito. Bendito.
And that was in your queue.
It was.
All right. I will talk about the sock I am currently knitting. I am mid-row, so that's fine.
Grab my hat.
So after my grandson saw my daughter's socks, he requested some rainbow socks. So I was at McKinney Knittery looking at sock yarn and couldn't find any like self-striping rainbow. But I did find this yarn, which is by Twisted Ambition, and it's hand-dyed in Oklahoma, and the color is called Explosion, and he loves it, so he's really excited to have his socks. This is just a vanilla sock. It's got a German twisted cast on. It's got a 2x1 rib, and I measured his foot, and his foot is 7 inches long, and I measured around the instep, and it's 7 inches around. So he has basically a square foot. And it's funny, I took him to the dentist for his teeth cleaning, and he's 44 inches tall and weighs 44 pounds.
He's very symmetrical.
He's very symmetrical. But I'm really shocked at the difference 8 stitches can make around in a sock.
Yeah. Really?
Compared to my size. So I'm shocked. So anyway, I cast on 57 stitches because I did a 2x1 rib and it has to be a multiple of 3, and 5 plus 7 is 12, which is divisible by 3. And then I decreased by 1 stitch. And so there's 56 stitches around in the leg. Heel flap and gusset, absolutely no gusset gaps because I picked up 2 stitches. And then, yeah, I knit So if you have 56 stitches on a sock and 64 stitches on a sock, your toe is going to be shorter if you start your decreases right away because you're making fewer decreases. Right. So I did decrease to 12 stitches. I magic loop my socks, so 12 stitches on each needle, and then I Kitchenered. With my socks, I usually decrease to 14 stitches on each needle. But anyway, I calculated how many rounds I was going to do for the toe for the decreases so I could calculate the length. So I would, I would have tried it on him otherwise and just like knit up to the pinky toe. But I didn't want them to be too short. So this little guy has to have his adenoids removed. So I want him to have a fancy pair of socks to wear when he gets his adenoids removed. So I'm really, really happy with how these have turned out.
It's so gorgeous.
It's so cute.
Really. A beautiful sock.
It just makes my heart really happy. So I love this yarn. It's fun knitting with yarn that you wouldn't yourself wear. And I just started the second one last night, I think. So yeah, that is my one of my works in progress.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any more works in progress, so you can go again.
Okay. All right. I do have 2 works in progress. One is my Wednesday sweater, and I talked about that in episode 32. 30.
This is 32. 31.
And so, I won't go into too much detail, but it is the Wednesday sweater by PetiteKnit, and I'm making it out of yarn that I purchased here at Pick Up Every Stitch. This is Isair Jensen, and it is a DK weight yarn. It is 100% pure new wool. It's pretty rustic, I will say. It's felt really dry in my hands, and it's winter time and my hands are dry anyway. So at first it felt a little like chalk on a chalkboard kind of feeling. And I combined it with Isair Alpaca 2, which produced a gauge that did not match the pattern. So it's a bulky weight pattern, and this is a DK plus a lace weight. So I was basically getting worsted. So I knew that my gauge was going to be off. I did swatch with, actually I just cast on for the pattern on a US size 9.
Because didn't you say you all the patterns cast on with the same amount of stitches?
Yes, and so I just wanted to see what kind of fabric I got, and I didn't like it. I could see through it basically. So I did go down to the recommended needle, which is a US 8, which is a 5mm needle. I was supposed to have a gauge of 15 stitches over 4 inches. I haven't blocked it yet, so I probably have, I want to say like a good 17 inches. Like my gauge is really off.
Stitches. 17 stitches? Or?
17 stitches. Okay. Sorry, did I say inches? Yeah, 17 stitches. So my gauge is really off. I typically make the second size in PetiteKnit patterns, but I'm making the third size. That said, I'm not going to have as much ease as the pattern recommends, which is almost 10 inches. 9.75 inches of positive ease, so I'm not going to have that much. And I did try it on the other day, and I think once it's blocked, it's going to be fine. It's drop shoulder, so drop shoulder construction. So I, cast on for the back, made the trapezoid situation, and then picked up stitches along the shoulders, cast on stitches, knit the front to as long as the back, and then joined in the round. It does have a split hem. Oops, sorry, wrong bag. Crash. It does have a split hem. It was supposed to have twisted rib. Let me see where this is the front. It was supposed to be all twisted rib on the hem and also on the neck. And I did a 1x1 just regular rib, but I did do the split hem. I really like how it came out. So I did knit the back a little bit longer than the front. It did call for an extra 1/4 inch. I thought, oh, well, that's just silly. It's not even going to be any different. So I probably knit an extra inch. And I did do a tubular Italian bind off. I did a tubular bind off. So I did the setup rows and everything. And you can see it picks up all the lint. Yeah, it looks really bad. But I just thought this is going to be a great Vermont sweater. It's black. I get dirty up there all the time. It is definitely chilly. So I'm excited to wear this, and it's just going to be a big slouchy sweatshirt. I did pick up stitches for the neck several times to get it right. I love picking up stitches. I love just taking the time to make it look really, really neat. And this is supposed to be 9 inches, so I'm still working on that. It's again just 1x1
And you were
rib.
concerned that it would be too because
tight.
Your gauge was
exactly.
But you tried it on and it's fine.
It's fine. So she had a great suggestion, which was to halfway up switch to the next size needle.
So that when it folds over, that part
Right,
is
it's
even
not
a tiny bit bigger. Yeah.
2 layers of too tight ribbing, which would be torturous. I don't like anything tight around my neck. So I had hoped to have this bound off by today, but didn't happen. So
That's fine.
Anyway, yeah. My husband and I, we got a new bed, and we ended up putting it together last night. And I thought this morning, I might not be able to get out of bed. Moving 2 king size box springs, a king size bed frame, which we had to just manhandle apart, and getting it down the stairs and into the garage. And I'm just I'm too old for this. This is just...
Even when I was there, you put a desk together for your husband.
Oh, yeah.
And, Jonna was busy.
I'm crawling around on the floor, it's a lot.
Yeah, she was busy the whole entire time.
This is very much DIY furniture, Yeah, so it's fun. But anyway, that's why I didn't get to finish the neck.
But at one point, I snuck into the mudroom and I broke down all the boxes for her.
And it was just a huge blessing. You have no idea the amount of cardboard we have accumulated. And I'm embarrassed. Living, remotely, I just have really relied heavily on Amazon. So we have a lot of cardboard. All right, this is my last whip. And it is a pattern by Dianna Walla, who used to work at Espace Tricot, who I think she currently lives in Norway. And this is a free pattern. It is called the Stoneham Poncho. And it's funny.
Soft.
As a child of, the early 70s, Poncho just brings back all this, imagery of this fringed thingy, that my mom, I wore, that's not this poncho. Anyway, I found this pattern and I thought it was just beautiful. And the thing I loved about this is that you can just pop it over your head, and it's a cowl and it covers my shoulders. I don't have to mess with a scarf or a shawl, it falling off into the snow. I can just pop it over my head, and my coat will fit over it. So this is why I chose this pattern. And I loved the very Nordic color work on it. So I was in Berlin, and I've heard other podcasters talk about Cardiff Cashmere Classic, and it just sounded lovely, and it's fairly pricey here in the States, but I was in Berlin and it was much less expensive. So I bought this color, which is Hermes. I bought this color, which is Louis, and this color, which is Latte. And at the time that I bought these, I really didn't know what I was going to make with them. So I think I bought 2 colors of this, assuming it would be the main color, and I just thought, oh my gosh, that's super Swedish looking, right? I was in Germany, not Sweden, but anyway, I love the color combo. Didn't know what I was going to make. Found this pattern on Ravelry and cast on, I want to say on the airplane. So it starts with a smaller needle, and you just do a 2x2 rib, and then you increase the needle size. You do some increases. There are some rest rows, which is really nice, and it's just simple color work. And I probably will run out of the blue and the red, and when I do, I'll just knit the rest of it in beige.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about this. I really need to get back to it. So you start on a US size 4. It's a 22 stitch gauge. It only comes in 2 sizes, but you could really, I don't know if there's a split on the shoulder. I want to say that there is, but I feel like it's a pattern that you could easily modify to make fit. It's, really just got to fit over your head and then over your shoulders. So there's 2 sizes. Like I said, it's a free pattern, so it's not, it's not a fully graded, all the sizes type of thing. It's top down, obviously, in the round, and I will just knit till I run out of yarn. So this is the Stoneham Poncho by Dianna Walla, and I have to say, okay, this yarn lives up to the hype. It
might be the softest thing I have ever touched in my life. Like a cat, like a rabbit.
It's very lofty, and it's so lightweight. It weighs almost nothing. It is so soft, and it almost looks like a chainette.
I think it is a chainette.
You think so?
I think so.
I have no idea about the wearability, the durability, but this has been rolling around in a project bag since I came back from Germany, and there's no pills on it. Mm-mm. So this is just, talk about next to skin soft. It's going to be like wearing a cloud and so warm. So it's beautiful. Highly recommend the yarn if you can get it, for less than it retails for in the United States. I would love to make a whole project out of this. It's a DK weight. I think it looks like a light DK, but I think it knits up like a DK. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they call it a DK. So Cardiff Cashmere Classic, and I love it.
It's beautiful. Wow.
I'm really excited. I have to say, living in Vermont, I wear my wool socks every day. I wear a stocking, like my Manhattan hat every day. I wear my penny gloves. I wear this every day.
You really didn't wear it every day,
gosh,
but it's sweater
day.
weather every day. I brought 3 or 4 sweaters, and I wore all of them. It was so nice to get another wear out of them.
Yeah, and we have a mudroom, so we take our boots off in the mudroom, and it's muddy. So we just wear our wool socks around the house, and I am very grateful for all my woolly layers. So
nice.
Yes, another woolly layer.
Love it.
I'm glad that I got to share this because I forgot when we were in New York to share this. So I'm excited to get back to it.
Great.
Yeah. So that's it.
That's it. So should we share about the mannequins? Because one of them is actually my favorite thing.
Sure. Let's do that. And I have one acquisition that I was going to talk about.
What do we usually do first? Well, why don't you do the acquisition first?
Okay. So I would love some comments or some feedback about your favorite wool cotton blend. I had you pick up some merino cotton knitting for Olive here. I pick up every stitch, and so I want to swatch with that. So I've been just ordering some different cotton merino yarns. So I want something lightweight, but the knitting for Olive is so thin. So I don't know if I should hold it double. Anyway, what is this one made out of?
Scottish.
Oh, it's 100% lamb's wool. Okay, so we'll cover that in a minute. Anyway, I love Purl Soho. I love their website, their aesthetic. They have sales often. So I found this yarn on Purl Soho's website and ordered some. You have to feel this. It is their Plein Air, which means full of air. It's 67% wool and 33% organically grown cotton. Feel that.
Wow.
And I did a swatch.
What?
I know.
Oh my
I
goodness.
did a swatch. So the funny thing is it's still attached to the ball because I don't want to waste the yarn in case I want to rip it out. But I did block this, and is that not the
It's
softest?
so lovely.
And that would be awesome for babies because it's not washable, machine washable, but it's next to skin soft. It's so soft. It's very light. So anyway, I'm really, really excited about this acquisition. I got it in blue also. Comes in beautiful colors. So I don't know what I'm going to make out of this, but I've always wanted to make the Ankers tee by PetiteKnit.
I want to make that blue and white. What's that blue and white sweater everybody was making that looks like China?
Oh, the porcelain sweater.
Oh, it's so gorgeous.
I feel like this is this is definitely too heavy for Texas weather in the summer, but I would wear this year round. It's so soft, and the wool content makes it super easy to knit with, and the cotton content actually makes it a little bit drapey. So I had no curling with this. I just laid it flat to dry. Yeah, so anyway, if you've used this yarn, let me know because it's super, super beautiful. So yeah, I'm just curious about like more summer weight yarns. I have linen things that I love. I do have some linen yarn. I have silk. But I'm kind of curious about the merino/cotton blend or wool blend. Wool cotton blend.
Yeah, so next episode we'll have to talk a little bit more about...
Sorry, it's near my mic. Yeah, we'll have to talk about some more summer yarns. So it's definitely still chilly here in New York, so we're not dressed for spring.
It's April, so it was 32 degrees this morning.
Right.
So.
We're not even talking about spring knits, honestly. It's not even on my radar yet, so I feel like I know a lot of podcasters are having their spring episodes and talking about spring garments and t-shirts and things, and I love to watch them, but knitting-wise, I'm not quite into the spring mode
Not there yet.
No, I'm not there yet.
No.
But I think as soon as we get back to Texas, it's going to be summer.
Yes.
So, but we'll be back in Vermont in the summer. So I'll go back for about 6 weeks and then come back up here.
Great.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about the mannequin?
Yep. So the one between us is the Carrington, and it is actually a dye Gilpin pattern, and it's really lovely. And
beautiful.
They already ran out of this yarn here, this color. They have the yarns, and they're all here. So I don't know if you want to hold these.
It's funny in
These
this
bright
skein,
colors.
it looks bumpy. I don't know. Is there an official word for that, Karen? It looks different in the ball than it does in the garment.
Yes.
Wow.
But these are all the colors they have, and
it's beautiful.
I kind of put the neutral-ish colors here, and then they have these bright colors, and they did have this. I'm assuming they can get more, but this is dye Gilpin Lalland DK 100% lamb's wool, spun in Scotland, and just beautiful.
It is very soft. It is. It looks pretty loosely plied. Yeah, it's really, really soft and beautiful.
Yeah, it's really, really lovely. So that's one mannequin.
And this is a sweater called Lucy by Karen Altabef. It is on Ravelry, so you can go check it out there. Can you buy the pattern without the yarn?
You can.
It is in blue sky fibers, in the color Java, in the extra.
Yeah, this is
blue sky fibers extra,
Aran.
which is Aran weight. And the pattern's free at the store if you buy the yarn.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And so and also on here is Karen's Grace pattern. It can be a kerchief and a bigger scarf. There was a 1 skein version and a 2 skein version. Obviously, you can make it as big as you want. And this is the
Pooling on Purpose.
Yeah, the Prosper Yarn Pooling on Purpose. They literally only have 1 hank left in the store, but I think they can get more. But remember, I knit a t-shirt out of this. It's beautiful. So it's really lovely, soft like cashmere as well. So the mannequin behind Jonna is wearing a t-shirt called the Freestyle Shirt by Paula Strict. And it's knit in Mandrake Chibi, dark navy. It's really beautiful. It has beautiful raglan details, and it has, I think Karen said she picked up the neckband from the wrong side, and so it creates kind of an exposed seam or a ridge of stitches. It's really, really a lovely detail. And also the folded sleeve hem and the folded body hem have that beautiful row of pearls, And so it almost gives it a slight scalloped look to it,
like
not
a
real
picot.
a picot edge. Yeah, exactly, not scalloped, picot edge. It's so lovely and light, and the yarn is really lovely. What's the yarn made of?
It is superwash merino, 100% two-ply, sport weight.
So I that's my favorite thing today, that t-shirt. I just think it's really, really lovely, and the details are really beautiful. And then the scarf is a Sophie scarf, and it's knit in shop color of...
This color is called Karen's Purl. It's by Le Garçon, and it is their BFL Twist DK.
And you can hold it with any color of mohair to make it, I think in that one it's kind of a light blue or a white. But yeah, it's really, really a lovely, lovely. And Karen's Purl, if you haven't seen our earlier episodes, by the way, be like me, go back to episode 1 and watch them all the way through if you're just discovering us. That's what I do whenever I watch a new episode or a new series. I like to go back to episode 1. But Purl is a lovely dog that is owned by Karen, one of the shop dogs here. So it's Purl, and this dog is this tall, big. What kind of dog is Purl? Is Purl a
large
poodle?
dog.
She's half poodle, part golden, and part Bernese.
Burmese.
Big, beautiful black dog.
Yes.
Love her.
It's like small horse size.
But she's not here today.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's my favorite thing is this beautiful t-shirt. Because when I walked in, I have not thought about spring or summer knitting, and I thought that would be a really good in-between piece for spring and fall. And I love the sleeves aren't... Did you knit them to the length?
I knit them shorter than they called for,
Okay.
but I'm short, so.
Right. I don't like sleeves that are super, super short, and so I think that in-between short sleeve is beautiful. So.
You know, Amy from Knee Knits, you can tell I've been watching a lot of podcasts, knitting podcasts. Knee Knits, which is the name of her YouTube channel. She just did an episode. This is her second episode about summer tees and would she wear them, would she not wear them. So she only talks about the tees that she has knit herself and which ones were worth it and which ones were not worth it.
Okay.
So there's only certain places in the country you can wear a wool t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I couldn't wear one in New York. Maybe in the spring and fall, but not in the summer.
Especially for me, not one with alpaca. That is asking for the itch.
Exactly.
So, anyway, I just wanted to show these. So my husband and I, there's a really cool antique center called Stoneham Antiques. It's a huge antique mall. So there's all these different nooks and different proprietors for the nooks. And I wasn't looking for anything knitting related. We were actually looking for, we bought a bench and a dresser and just kind of just things for the house to make it our own. And I came across these, and they call them sock stretchers, which I guess sock blockers.
I have to
are
tell you
sock
a funny
stretchers.
story. I didn't know she was going to bring these. I have to tell you a funny story when you're done.
Okay. So they're really, really big. So maybe they'll fit my husband's sock. I don't know. But I thought they'd be really cute to hang on the wall in my little knitting nook and in my Vermont house. So I bought them.
So let me tell you about sock stretchers.
Yeah.
My granddaughter, for a field trip, they went to the local little museum in town. It talks about the history of the town. And they talked about sock stretchers. I think they had some there, and how in the old times people hand knit socks in the old days, wool socks, and when you wash them they would shrink, so you put them on the sock stretchers to stretch them out again. And so she came home and she told me about it, and I said, oh, I have some of those. She said, you have sock stretchers? And I said, well, they're called sock blockers. She said, can I bring them to school and show my friends? I said, sure, of course. I mean, mine are tacky blue plastic.
Right.
They're not gorgeous wood, but I put a pair of her socks on them and she took them to school. She was the happiest little kid. My grandma has sock stretchers.
She's so old. She has sock
Right,
stretchers.
exactly.
I know. Oh my gosh. But
Those are going to work great.
look. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
They fit perfectly.
They do. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I wonder the history of these. Who owned them?
I know. I know. There was a nitty naughty there. Also, a couple nitty naughties. I think they're for making hanks or
Like
skeins?
winding hanks.
Yeah,
winding
I'm not really sure. I do know that I watched Aran and Carlos episode where they used a nitty naughty, I think. But yeah, so they had a few of those, but I didn't buy one because I don't know how to use them. So anyway, look at that.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Wow, we did it.
Okay.
So,
I just want to say thank you to our members.
yes.
Yeah, who've hung in there with us during this unintended hiatus. But, you know, especially our Cable 3 members have just become this little kind of safe place for us. So it's been really, really nice. So thank you to all the members of our channel. Thank you to those people who support the channel, who like and subscribe. That helps. Who comment. So definitely engage. It helps us.
And then we do have merch. There's a link in our YouTube channel.
Do we? Do we still?
We do. And we also are affiliates for Twice Sheared Sheep. So if you need a row counter or something, you can go check out their store on.
There's an affiliate link in the description box below.
And thank you again, Justin.
And Karen and Felicia for having us.
Yes.
It's good to be back.
Yay. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Welcome to
Oh, no, I'm not ready.
It's so hot.
Not Instagram. Section number 2.
Sorry, I just smacked my lips.
It's in my Instagram. I did it again. Deep breath. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Why do I keep thinking of Instagram?
Go ahead.
It's okay, you don't have to look. I feel like I'm drooling.
She's the organized one, can you tell?
It's going to be one of those shoots.
No, it can't be. Karen has to leave.
Whipping right through this. Whipping through my whips. I wish I had a fan.
Wait. We did a lot of this in the early days.